Good evening. I'm Bob Malden, commentator for SWE Fury. Tonight, we have a very special episode for you, recapping some great matches from our Canton event, Go for the Gold. We'll show those matches for you here in just a little bit, but tonight, a big goal of this episode is to visit with our senior official, James Beard, to talk about rules as far as wrestling is concerned, to talk about some of the talent you will be seeing in SWE, and one in particular who's caused some problems and how James Beard plans to address those problems. That's all coming up tonight on a very special episode of SWE Fury. In the ring now, getting action underway tonight for us, Mr. Saturday Night, Michael Berry up against Jaxon Stone, everybody's friend.
Not only are the fans here in attendance getting their tickets money's worth, but they are also here tonight getting to be a part of something that is going to be huge. That is this TV taping that we're doing for Southwest Wrestling Entertainment, Go for the Gold, as the bell rings and the match gets underway.
And you know something, Bob, because when you have a title match, no matter what they say, there's so much more intensity in that particular match. And you get to see that tonight, and 3 of them, that's awesome.
One of the things that I've noticed about the competition level here with Southwest Wrestling Entertainment, even the non-title matches, you see the intensity there. You see that that hunger, because they all are potential champions somewhere down the road as this organization grows.
You know, they're all young and upcoming guys, stars in professional wrestling, trying to make a name, and there's just something there when you're like that. You'll dig and you'll go. Can you imagine even taking 2 of the falls they take out here tonight?
I know. What you have with Jaxon Stone is athleticism.
I heard the same thing. I've heard about Stone. They're saying he's one great athlete.
Absolutely, and what he gains in athleticism, he might give up in size against Berry as he goes for another shoulder tackle, but is denied by Jaxon Stone. Let's talk a little bit about Hunt for the Cure. You know, this great organization, which is the beneficiary of some of the proceeds for tonight's event, as we go to a count of only 2. This great charity, let me tell you a little bit about what they do. Terminally ill children not always want to do like the Make-A-Wish or some of the other things that are out there, but what Hunt for the Cure does is they give kids opportunities to go on hunting excursions and trips and things of that nature, to go out and enjoy nature and be a part of nature, and to do something that's an age-old tradition in these United States, and that's what Hunt for the Cure does, and that's what we're here. All of these fans you see out here tonight have contributed with their tickets that they bought tonight to raise money for Hunt for the Cure, and we thank everyone for their part in that.
You know, I love that. I love the Hunt for the Cure because it involves kids and they're trying to help kids. I love kids, and man, I think that's one of the greatest things ever.
It's an awesome thing, and we have a count going now as Jaxon Stone awaits patiently in the ring for Michael Berry to come back in, and he gets brought in the hard way.
Yeah, I think Mr. Saturday Night's wishing he was Friday night by now.
He does. He's wondering, kind of wishing he could go back in time and stay in Friday night. And, nope, there he gets a little jawbreaker in on Jaxon Stone. That should turn things around a little bit. Some of that ring attire of Michael Berry there, even though yours wasn't pink, kind of reminds me a little bit of your ring attire back in the day. You know, probably brings back a lot of memories seeing this action take place in front of you here. You were in the ring. You fought for many titles through the years. And how does it feel for you to see good old-fashioned professional wrestling making a comeback in Texas?
I love it, because you know something? I'll promise you one thing. I held belts all over the world.
Right.
Okay? And but the one I was the most proudest of in my whole career was when I was the Texas heavyweight champion, because I'm from Texas, born and bred, and I'll die in Texas, and I always loved Texas. And I was the most proud of that one right there. And when I watch these guys out here giving it their all in the state of Texas, believe me, it makes me get excited. I really love it.
Well, we're proud to be here with you and have you be a part of this great event on TV. Go for the Gold Wrestling Spectacular as we watch Michael Berry and Jaxon Stone side suplex there in the ring as it looks like the tables have turned once again. A count of only one this time, though, for Michael Berry as Jaxon Stone kicks out, showing that athleticism that we spoke of. A former baseball player, you say?
Telling you, and I'll tell you one thing, that side suplex, I'll tell you something about that thing. That's how I got a fractured neck in 2 places. It was from that same move right there, and they had to go in and replace 2 vertebrae. So let me tell you something. Anytime people thinks that don't hurt, give it a try. Okay?
Yes, and you and I both know those chops hurt like crazy.
Oh, they sting, buddy. They sting.
Michael Berry having none of that. Jaxon Stone is over lifter, a little eye rake there. I think the referee missed.
A lot of times they do those chops, Bob, just to keep the guy off guard so they can do a more devastating move. You know?
Well, that sting definitely stuns you and helps you take your eye off the ball a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah, and the baseball player did, didn't he?
Yeah. I'm glad that my jokes aren't totally lost on you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he better get. Maybe he needs a baseball bat with this big guy.
He might. Again, count of only one.
5 minutes have passed. 5 minutes have passed.
He's still got some go in him.
Yep, we've seen these guys and they're pacing themselves. We can see that as this match has been going on 5 minutes now. Irish whip into the corner, and here comes Jaxon Stone, met by a big boot, and now Michael Berry is working his way up the ropes. How high will he go?
He caught it.
Nobody home with the elbow drop. Big chop again from Jaxon Stone. Another big chop. Back in Michael Berry into the corner again. Irish whip reversed, and no, not happening. Oh, big. I didn't know where that was going to go. And a big clothesline sends Michael Berry crashing to the mat.
That's a new one on me. I seen that elbow right to the jaw. That looked devastating, buddy.
It did.
And he gave him one right back.
Returning the favor a little bit is Michael Berry. Jaxon Stone. Oh, what? Look at that. Crashing right to the center of the ring. That had to be a lot of just like strength in the abs to be able to take. He's so far out to the end of his feet. Got him up in a fireman carry now, off the back. It rolls him up. He has a handful of tights.
He had a handful of tights right there. You're
Referee
right.
didn't see it. Michael Berry.
Mr. Saturday Night.
Now some guys just say it don't matter if you win or you beat, as long as you cheat.
His first showing at Southwest Wrestling Entertainment, Jaxon Stone losing to Michael Berry, who with a handful of tights put away Jaxon Stone in their debut match here at Southwest Wrestling Entertainment.
He'll live to wrestle again another day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SWE Fury. I'm here right now with Director of Talent Relations and Senior Official James Beard. And those are 2 very different roles within the company. And James, I want to talk to you first of all about talent relations. So it's you who has gone out and developed relationships with these wrestlers who have competed all over, not just in Texas or the United States, but all over the world.
Right.
And you're bringing in the top talent that you've had the chance to work with into this company, which is commendable.
Yeah.
It's a great thing.
Right.
In the course of doing so, you also have this other hat that you wear.
Right.
That is senior official.
That's correct.
And this is where you take all those relationships off the table, and now it becomes about what happens between those ropes.
That's correct. Yes.
Now, when you get in that ring, all those relationships, those working relationships go out the door. It is your job to ensure that the fans are getting a competition that is up to snuff, so to speak.
That's the goal, yes.
And recently, we've had some instances where you've become not only personally involved, but physically involved. And we want to take a look now, before we get into our discussion about this, at some footage focusing on an athlete by the name of Brent McKenzie. And let's start out with a match in Canton, Texas at one of our very first tapings for SWE Fury, where Brent McKenzie had a very decisive win. Let's take a look at that.
Brent McKenzie is just taking it to Danny Saint.
It's been a one-sided match from this point on. We'll see what Danny Saint can do, right?
And you know, I look at guys as they come into the ring. You get the close-ups of them. You know, you get to see their massive torsos, their foreheads, and this guy, I mean, just coming at you, you would want to clear the way. You see his face and you just want to move aside and say, he can have the sidewalk.
You're exactly right. I'm telling you, he's the type of guy that has no fear at all. You can tell when you meet him. And he's definitely cut out to be in the squared circle, okay? Because he's going to find matches along the way. This kid might not be, but you never know. Don't count him out yet, okay? He didn't get in wrestling just because it was an accident, okay? So he's got something in him.
I mean, there's a reason he's at this event. There's a reason he's at Go for the Gold. I just hope that it isn't to have his career ended by Brent McKenzie.
I've had this happen to me before. Right at the start of a match, I take some kind of injury or I get hurt, and I took a whooping from then on out the rest of the match.
What is it that pulls you through, though? What is it that takes you from at this stage where it seems like all hope is lost? Where do you get the energy when you know when you come back he's still going to be there?
You know where it's at, buddy. You got to dig deep down inside. Deep down inside and do everything you can. If you're made to be in this business, you are. If you're not, you're not.
Well, let's do hope for the sake of Danny Saint that he was made to be in this business, because right now he's being made.
I'm telling you. Yeah, it's looking like Big Boy might just put him out of his misery here. I don't know.
Uh-oh, we have a little knee action there.
See, he didn't even have the whole kick there.
No.
This kid's been hurting through this match all the way.
Yeah. And now it's a reversal from Brent McKenzie into the corner post.
He got on him there. He got locked up. He needs to take advantage right now.
Got a few good forearms as he backs him into the ropes. And a reversal. Danny Saint off the ropes, ducks the clothesline. Brent McKenzie, they crash in midair. And when you have two guys coming at each other with a flying crossbody and one of them outweighs the other one by nearly double, that is exactly the outcome.
I'm telling you, I would have hated to be on the other end of that. That looked like that really hurt.
I mean, that's like flying through the air and colliding with a 747.
You got that right, no kidding.
Oh, and that massive forehead.
And he just adds to the damage, right? Look, see how he's doing it across the face? Armbar across the face.
Yep.
Now really trying to humiliate him and take advantage here.
He's trying to rub it in is what he's doing.
Yes, sir.
And now just playing with Danny Saint.
And I've been in these type matches myself, and I was on the end that Danny Saint's in, and these are ones that you never forget.
Ah, look at that.
These are the ones you never forget.
These are the ones that make you wake up sore in the morning years later, right?
I'm telling you. You wonder, why do I even own wrestling gear?
What? Now, I don't understand what he's doing. He's just trying to make many runs.
There was a punch I'm talking about right there.
That's it. That's that punch you mentioned. He got up.
He caught him right, tagged him right on the.
Yeah.
Right
Danny
on the
Saint
button.
just he let his
Done.
he let his anger get the best of him.
Yes, he
He
did.
could have done something with that, but instead he turns around.
And the winner of this bout by pinfall, the Super Tex, Brent McKenzie.
All right, James, definitely a force to be reckoned with, but it was from that point where things began to go downhill as far as the relationship between the office and Brent McKenzie, and we want to get into that in just a little bit. But first, I want to take a moment to talk to you about rules in professional wrestling.
Okay, sure.
As with any athletic competition, there has to be a set of rules. There have to be consequences when those rules aren't followed. There have to be ways to admonish the athletes when the rules aren't being followed. So let's talk, before we get into the specifics with Brent McKenzie,
Okay.
let's spend a moment talking about the rules in professional wrestling. When two competitors step in that ring, there are a few things that everyone knows.
Right.
For example, you pin somebody, you get a 1, 2, 3.
That's the goal.
When it used to be back in the old days, someone gets thrown off the top, over the top rope. That's a disqualification. Is that even still a rule?
It is in SWE now.
Okay.
Yes.
You have a variety of rules, just like you do with any sport, and for us to sit here and go through them individually would be a waste of your time and ours.
Right.
So let's focus on the rules that SWE is embracing that in many years we haven't seen anywhere.
At least not enforced the way they should be, in my opinion, yes.
We're going to get around to closed fists in just a moment, but let's talk a little bit about some of the rules that SWE does enforce that you may not see enforced elsewhere.
Right. Well, that's going to be the big one that you're going to notice more than anything else. We're basically adapting the original NWA rules with some modifications. The counts outside the ring in the old NWA rules were 20 count, and in SWE it's 10. We're trying to get guys back in the ring where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
And that's another thing that you have to keep in mind, that a lot of these rules in some cases like that are sort of left up to the referee as far as how he handles them. A lot of times if guys are outside the ring, and I don't want to count 2 guys out and just have a match in that way.
It's not what the fans want, really.
No, it's not.
They want to see a win or a loss.
Exactly, yeah, and so do I as an official. So there's times when I may actually go out of the ring myself if they're both out there and try to get them to get back in the ring so we can go ahead and have the match. So instead of counting, now there's a point in time when they do things to a point to where I've just had enough, and I may go ahead and start counting, and if that's the case, that's the case. But hopefully we try to get the guys in the ring, have the match in the ring, and have a decisive win one way or the other inside the ring so fans can see what's going on.
Now, when it comes down to moves and holds, there's one in particular that has recently been banned by SWE, and this all goes back, and there is a backstory to it, and we'll get into that when we come back here. Our special sit-down interview with senior official James Beard continues right after this on SWE Fury. We're back on SWE Fury, a very special episode, sitting down with Director of Talent Relations, James Beard. He's also senior official. Now, James, we have a guy who, of course, has been a big draw for SWE, and his name is Brent McKenzie. He has been great for the fans to watch, not so great to deal with. And I want to take you back to an event where we were setting up for our very first live SWE TV taping.
Hey. What are you doing here?
You don't say a word.
It's my job to say words, man. Just saying, just doing my job. There's the camera.
I know that you're the matchmaker here at SWE, and you've got me in a preliminary match, August 24th in Canton, Texas.
You're in a match?
James, I'm not even on the card. Huh? They don't have my name anywhere.
You know I don't
this crap right here, worthless, because I'm not on it. Rodney Mack, Tim Storm, they're in the main event title match, right?
Yes.
Why am I not in the main event title match?
A committee chose those guys. I mean, you were definitely on the list, I can promise you that. But they chose those guys.
A committee.
Yes.
A committee chose those guys. Well, you better introduce that committee to me right away. Because if you don't, I'm going to show you exactly what happens when I don't get my way, James. Do you understand me?
I understand you.
And here's your microphone, word boy.
Word boy?
And James, that wasn't the last time we heard from Brent. Later on that night, you and I talked backstage and met him again.
Yeah, he evidently was in a bad mood that day.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at that.
All right. They took him off in an ambulance on a stretcher. I'd have to find out what.
Yeah, find another team, right, James? You seem to have lost control on the very first night. What's going on, James? You want to know why that happened out there? It's because you showed APOC, Adam Asher, the same disrespect that this company has shown me.
Oh, come on.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, James. Come August 24th, I'm going to show everybody what I'm talking about.
James, what do you think it is that motivates someone like that? We saw earlier a little bit of his performance in Canton, his obviously smash mouth style of wrestling. He takes no prisoners and goes in there and goes after the win every single time. But what do you think was the chip on Brent McKenzie's shoulder at that point?
Well, one of the reasons I hired Brent or booked Brent to wrestle for us is that intensity. I like that. I want that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
I want guys to compete. I want it to be hard-nosed. And we're going to feature that kind of wrestling overall. But evidently Brent was not happy because we had a committee that decided who the top two wrestlers were for the title, the major heavyweight title for SWE, and he wasn't one of those two. I mean, he was one of the guys considered, but he wasn't one of those two. And evidently that stuck in his craw a little bit. So he's kind of decided that I'm the cause of that, I think. He made it more of a personal thing, which it really was not just myself, but that's okay. You know, it's nothing new. Actually, Brent and I've always had a good relationship. I mean, I've been on him a long time. We've gotten along well until this. For whatever reason.
Yeah. Things seem to have gone south very quickly.
It has, yes.
So let's take a little break and come back with more with James Beard. But before we do that, we'll have another exciting match from our Go for the Gold event in Canton, Texas, right here on SWE Fury. Welcome back to SWE Go for the Gold. Up next, Magnificent Malico takes on a legit MMA fighter in Jerome Daniels. But as Malico told me earlier, this isn't the first time.
The third time will be the charm. Absolutely, you're a smart guy, huh? Good to know, good to know. Because when I'm in the ring with Jerome Daniels tonight, it may be the third time we've encountered each other. But it will be the very last time he ever stares across from my beautiful face in that ring again. Do you know why?
Why?
Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Because I'm going to break his feeble little skull. With my hands.
With your hands.
With my hands.
Yes,
with
sir.
my feet. With my arms.
I
I'll
believe
use
you.
my head if I have to.
Okay, I believe you. Magnificent Malico.
He is malevolent. He is malicious. He is the magnificent Malico.
What did I tell you, Lynn Denton? Look at this guy.
Well, it's a little different. I don't think I've ever.
A little?
Yeah, okay, a whole lot different. All right? I don't know. I mean, you look at the fella, you wouldn't think he knows a wrestling hose, would you?
No, the man is like something out of a horror movie. I spoke to him earlier. Yeah.
I mean, either the circus or a horror movie.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm going to have nightmares. I am going to have nightmares. But let's see what he can do in the ring against Jerome Daniels. Magnificent Malico.
All I've heard about the guy is he's a fantastic guy in the ring in the squared circle. He knows what he's doing.
We're about to find out here. Southwest Wrestling Entertainment, go for the gold. Look at Jerome Daniels is insured. That's what I wanted to do when he came out for that interview earlier. I just didn't want to be here.
I hear you.
Referee Paul Knight will be officiating this match.
Paul Knight officiating this match between Magnificent Malico and Jerome Daniels, who is taking his time outside the ring to get ready to go in and face the stuff of nightmares.
You know, Jerome, I hear he was trained by Killer Tim Brooks.
Really?
And also Skandar Akbar was involved in his training. But I'll tell you something, I know those guys very well. Me and Killer Brooks were tag team partners many times, and he is double tough. Akbar was double tough. If he got to the training with those guys, watch this guy closer, he'll probably hurt him.
Okay, that is something to be on the lookout for. I know very well the training, the Killer Tim Brooks, just a tough guy. You said you were able to tag with him. I guess that means never really had to square up against him. What is he doing?
Was he biting him?
Tastes like chicken. Great. Great.
Yeah, he's really a little different type cat, isn't he?
Just his approach, unprecedented and just definitely hard hitting in the ring. I'm liking what I see so far. Ow.
Oh, that's dumb. I mean, look at the guy's face. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Sadistic. Sadistic. That's all it is. And the way he talks and they heard that in Tyler, Texas.
Yeah, that hurt me. Bob, how do you say this fella's name?
Magnificent Malico.
Malico. Okay,
Yes. Malico. You got to be careful. You don't want anybody thinking he's related like Dean Malico.
Oh,
look at there. That was a good fake. He fooled Jerome Daniels into thinking he wasn't paying attention. He was ready for him. 2, and not quite 3 as Jerome Daniels kicks out.
Now, see, there goes all those moves people were telling me about. They said this guy is something out here.
Yeah, and I guess he's getting geared up by spinning around the ring, trying to decide which corner to go to. Just backs Jerome Daniels up into that corner. Daniels out of the way. Malico hitting the turnbuckle. Turned around now by Jerome Daniels, and a big knee to the back. And brings him down right on his own arm. I thought he was going for a hammer lock, but he brought him down on his own arm, straight to the ring, in the corner. There's no give over there.
That was a different way of doing it. I've seen it done before. That's a different way of hurting the shoulder, but I guarantee you that hurt.
Malico in a little bit of pain right now, but drops down and says, "Here, you go outside the ring while I get better."
Yeah, there's another one of those things I tell you, if you're telegraphing what you're doing, you'll learn over time, it always backfires.
That's right, and that's exactly what Jerome Daniels did. He backed up. He made it very obvious that's what he was headed to do. What is Malico doing here?
I don't know.
He's now fashioned a sling for his arm. How resourceful. He now has his arm in his sling, and he's got his face right in the fist of Jerome Daniels.
He walked right into that one.
Literally. And now being choked over the rope. That can't be legal. And what is he doing?
Well, I think Daniels went, hey, listen, wrestling's out of the book now. I got to do something. This guy is he's so awkward to wrestle. He's so different, the styles. You're unsure how to handle him, you know?
Those forearm shots knocking the paint right off the face of Magnificent Malico. And I have to wonder, you know, his arm is hurt, but is putting it in that little makeshift sling on the front of his is that a good idea? I mean, you basically, like, even if the arm starts to feel better, he can't use it. Oh,
that had to hurt. I don't know. That's something I don't understand. I've never seen that done all the many years I've been in professional wrestling, to sling your own arm during the match.
I know. That's the first for me. He's pounding his own head now. Oh, yeah. Those headbutts. Magnificent Malico, apparently the head, a strong part. Is that him?
I don't know what that is.
I thought someone let a hyena into the building. That's him doing that. Apparently has his arm out of the sling now. Try to clothesline with that, miss. Probably a good thing.
Well, this is definitely a different style match. It's all stuff they've never seen before. And man, just think about it. You got 2 more title matches coming up too, Bob.
So excited about that. We have of course, our main event tonight is the TV title match, the first ever SWE television title.
5 minutes have passed. 5 minutes have passed.
The first ever SWE television title on the line tonight.
And also we got the ladies making the championship match happen, right?
That's right. That's coming up a little bit later on. So excited to see Jazz in action out here tonight, going after that ladies title. The folks at SWE searched all over the Southwest to find the talent to bring in here to Canton, Texas for this big event, and the level of talent they've been able to bring in is just astonishing. That main, good grief, look at that.
Goodness.
Magnificent. Malico goes over and nobody home. Jerome Daniels moves out of the way, and
this is where Jerome needs to take advantage of it, you know. Those high-flying moves, they look good, but when you miss, it hurts.
that's right, it looked great. Speaking of, though, the talent, good Lord, I don't think that shoulder is in the socket anymore.
Yeah, that arm's hurting bad, real bad. He's going to need more than a swing if he stays in there.
Malico is in pain, working his way back to his feet. I do want to make mention, though, of the competitors for our TV title match tonight. You will not want to miss that match. Please stay tuned for it. And we have Malico making what looks like a little bit of a comeback there with a back elbow and a big boot to the face.
You have to say one thing about the guy. Maybe he's different, but he's tough.
That's right. I don't know many who can keep going after the pain that has been inflicted on that shoulder, and now between the bottom and middle rope again he goes. Hey,
that's an awesome move there.
Manages to get him up. Two and not quite enough.
Almost 2 3/4.
Andy Dalton, who is the son of Frank Dalton, will be here tonight. And also Barrett Brown. These two guys have been battling all across Texas, and tonight they have a chance at gold, that TV title, as we see more damage on Magnificent Malico's shoulder.
You're right about the TV title. I've heard both those boys, both those fellas, those men, I might say, are very, very good wrestlers, and they've earned a right to be in this match. And it'll be really awesome to watch.
Did you ever have a chance to work around Andy Dalton's father?
Oh yeah, Frank Dalton. Yeah, I was around him a lot. But when I started with Frank Dalton, I was a 17-year-old kid, and he was already a veteran. So,
wow.
Boy, they used to put me through the mill. But you know something? I learned how to be a pro, and his daddy was a pro, and he is as well.
Well, you know, wait a minute. The bell has been rung.
Now.
The referee calls it.
And the winner of this bout via disqualification, the Magnificent Malico!
Well, there you go. You know what I like to see? I like to see the rules being followed. He was counted out. That was a disqualification. Malico was in the ropes.
Well, unlike you, Bob, I hate it when they go by the rules because I was that type wrestler. But nowadays, that I'm just a fan, you know, I have to watch. You're correct. I hate to see that because guys get away with all kinds of things that they shouldn't. And they need to have rules in our profession.
One of the things that you will see here with SWE is the rules being followed. The referees enforcing the rules. And if you break the rules, you lose the match.
We're back, SWE Fury. I'm Bob Malden, joined by Senior Official and Director of Talent Relations, James Beard. Now, James, we've talked a little bit about the rules of professional wrestling overall.
Right.
And it varies from league to league and promotion to promotion, whatever you prefer to call them, as to what rules are adhered to and what specific measures are taken when those rules are broken. But because of the situation we've been discussing for the better part of half an hour now, there have been some measures that have been put back in place with SWE that were, for a long time, offenses that could have had someone immediately disqualified. Talk to me about what is now happening with SWE.
Yeah, well, let me say this before we get too far into that. These rules were rules that I intended to implement anyway, regardless. Even though this happened with Brent, these rules were going to come no matter what. So it's not necessarily a direct result of what happened.
Okay.
Brent probably thinks so.
Well, this may be the journalist in me coming out here
Yeah,
a little bit,
okay,
James,
okay.
but let me press you just a little
Sure.
bit. For a long time, anyone casually watching wrestling could
Right.
see a fist being used and see that person didn't get disqualified.
Right, right.
What makes SWE different, and does Brent McKenzie play a part in it?
Well, let me ask you this from kind of my perspective.
Okay.
What has a fist got to do with wrestling? It never has.
It's not wrestling.
And you know, I watch wrestling too, like everybody else does. And one of my pet peeves in the last few years is that a lot of wrestling promotions, and I'm talking about from the very smallest to the largest on TV that you see, you can't tell what the rules are from one match to the next.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, they may mean something in this match, and then the next match, the same thing happens, and it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And it just frustrates me. And I know it has to frustrate fans, because fans used to understand what the rules are.
Right.
And that helps them follow what's right and what's wrong, and what they should be happy about and not happy about, and that kind of thing. It's just like any sport. A close fist to the face up above the neck is basically what our rule is. You can't do that. If you do that, you're disqualified. And to me, that takes away everything that has to do with professional wrestling, because it's not a wrestling move. It's an MMA move, but we're not MMA. We're not trying to be MMA. There's other rules that are similar to that. You can't kick with the toe. The flat of the foot is okay, but with the toe isn't. It's an illegal kick.
Right.
It's always been that way, but it's not always. It's not always adhered to, and it's not always admonished and even made an illegal move by other promotions, where it really should be, as far as I'm concerned. And SWE, it's going to be.
In my conversations with Lynn Denton, as he calls these matches with me, you know, Lynn Denton wasn't always on the rules following side.
I worked with the grappler many times, and I've been in his face or his mask a few times. But the thing is he knows the difference.
Yeah. So at what point do you go from something that gets you counted to something that is an immediate disqualification? What offenses in SWE will now lead someone to an immediate disqualification?
Well, there's two things that you don't see a lot anymore. One is that blow to the closed fist blow to the head.
Immediate disqualification.
That's immediate disqualification if the referee sees it.
Okay.
Throwing your opponent over the top rope on purpose, purposely throwing them over the top rope. That's immediate disqualification.
Okay. Immediate.
And those are old rules that used to be in place.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember those rules.
Not always enforced, but always in place. And the reason for that is both of those things are dangerous moves.
Outside interference.
Outside interference is a disqualification.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Again, it predicates upon the referee seeing it.
Yes, yeah, and that's one thing I want to. That's one thing that's kind of unique about profession. Well, it's not really unique. It's kind of the same as any other profession. If the referee sees it, he's got the final results. We don't have instant replay. We don't get to call New York.
Right.
You know, so whatever the referee sees, whatever he calls, whatever his final decision is, that's it. That's the way it is.
Even in NFL, a face mask that isn't witnessed by a referee never happens.
Yeah, you can't call New York on that.
Right.
Now, they do have things in football and basketball now that they can call about if they don't see it.
Yeah.
If somebody protests. But we don't have that. We don't have coaches, and we don't have guys throwing a flag. So if the referee sees it, those things, it's an immediate disqualification. If he doesn't see it, well, I guess the guy got away with it. That's all I can say. Okay. It happens in every sport.
Right. When we come back, we'll talk to James Beard about what we're going to do moving forward in SWE about this Brent McKenzie problem. We'll talk about that with James Beard right after this.
I am the future of this company. I mow through Dave's sake, and I will mow through each and every member of this roster until I get what I want, and that's a shot at the heavyweight championship.
Back on SWE Fury, I'm Bob Malden, joined by Director of Talent Relations, and Senior Official James Beard. Now, we've talked about the no closed fist and how that's an immediate disqualification.
Right.
But another sanction imposed by you, that has directly affected Brent McKenzie is he now doesn't have the opportunity to compete for the SWE title for 6 months.
Well, yeah, I did have some direct effect on that ruling, although the initial meeting with the board of directors was that they wanted to just suspend him, period. And so he couldn't wrestle.
Really his fate is a little bit better because of you.
My argument was that and part of this is personal because I do know Brent. I've known him a long time. He's an excellent competitor. Part of my reasoning was I want him there. I want him to compete.
Right.
But he has to be punished for what he did. He can't attack an official. He can't. And I'm not talking about me that wasn't really as a referee. That was as an official for the company. Okay. But either way, he's got to be punished for that. So his punishment is, and he's still signed to compete with us. He's got to do that. Got to maintain his obligations with us.
Agreement, right?
Yeah. So he's got to compete, but he cannot compete for a title for a minimum of 6 months.
Wow. And there's things he could do that would actually make that longer.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, we are going to be watching very closely to see how things play out with Super Tech's Brent McKenzie going forward into the future. And as we get ready to wrap this episode up, it's been sort of a recap.
Yeah.
And we've had to go back through and sort of parse through some things here. Any final words for the fans of SWE, James?
Yeah, I think, and this ties into what we've been talking about. The goal, at least the goal I have for SWE, is to have competitors who get in there and fight hard, and hopefully follow the rules. I mean, I know the wrestling's wrestling. You're going to have times when, and certain guys with different personalities and different styles, and some of them are a little bit rougher than the others. Some have a tendency to want to try to be more technical. Some are more brawlers. That's okay. I get it. I don't have a problem with that. I want guys to be that way. We want to have that old Texas style of wrestling.
Sure.
And some of these guys are going to probably have to be educated as to what that is, and maybe educated in the hard way.
Yeah.
But that's where we're headed, and that's what my goal is to provide fans, because I think they've seen enough. If they want to see something else, they can always go look at another product.
Right.
And our product is going to be hard hitting. It's going to be tough. It's going to be old school type wrestling and brawling if it has to be, or fighting. I hope these guys wrestle more. I really do.
Yeah. But
if they want to get after it, let them get after it. As long as they don't do some of the things that we're talking about that goes over the line. And so I'm really excited about this, and I'm excited about bringing in the kind of talent that can compete under those circumstances, and it's going to be fun seeing some of the younger guys learn how to do that. So it's going to be fun. I think fans are going to enjoy this style of wrestling.
Well, I'll step out of my broadcaster role for just a second and
Sure.
put my fan shoes back on
Good,
and tell
good,
you
yeah.
that I personally am very excited about the style of wrestling that SWE brings.
Thank you.
To fans all over the nation, with all of our television productions that are upcoming and have already happened. And thank you, James, for being here with us and sort of explaining things.
Yeah, well, I hope the fans enjoy what we're doing, and I'm going to do my best to bring some of the best talent that's available out there for them.
We're excited about that. More wrestling action coming up next week right here, SWE Fury. We'll be back and we'll see you then. For James Beard, I'm Bob Malden. Have a great week.